To order of June 27, 2011. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Would the city clerk please take roll?
Davis Reinhardt.
Present.
Wanda Sang.
Here.
Joyce J.
Here.
Tracy Langworthy.
Here.
Joseph DeMott.
Here.
Karen Adams. Here. And let the record show council members Berry and Stites are absent.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of June 13, 2011?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion for approval, seconded by Councilmember DeMott. Any changes to the minutes? Please poll the council.
Motion carries 5-0 with Councilmember Langworthy abstaining.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is citizens' right to speak. Citizens' right to speak is reserved for members of the public who wish to speak on any item not on the agenda. Speakers are allowed 3 minutes. Others may donate their time to the speaker at the podium for a total of 9 minutes. When you are speaking at the podium, you will see a green light when you start speaking, a yellow light when you have 30 seconds left, and a red light when your time is up. So please step forward to the podium and please spell your last name and state your city and or your address. And please spell your last name for the record.
My last name is Sabell, S-A-B-E-L-L. My name is Rich Sabell, and I'm the president of the Columbus Day Parade Committee, Planning Committee. First, I would like to thank and introduce my distinguished associates who have graciously donated their allotted 3 minutes of speaking time to me. My good friend and longtime Wheat Ridge resident, John Gargano, is a member of Potenza Lodge, the Sons of Italy Lodge in Wheat Ridge, and is currently my first vice president for the Columbus Day Planning Committee. George Vendania, also my good friend and Wheat Ridge resident, is responsible for the restoration of the Columbus Day Parade in 2000 and is currently my immediate past president. George is a member of our local Sons of Italy Lodge in Wheat Ridge and is also an officer for the Sons of Italy Grand Lodge of Colorado. In addition, George is the director and president of the Western Division of the Commission for Social Justice, the anti-defamation arm for the Sons of Italy. The CSJ actively investigates and responds to things like negative stereotyping and discrimination against Italian Americans. I am a lifelong Wheat Ridge resident, actually born in Lutheran Hospital, and can trace my ancestry to the pioneers. I am a member of the Italian American Business Association and the Wheat Ridge Sons of Italy Lodge on 32nd and Harlan. I am also an officer for the Grand Lodge of Colorado, which oversees all 7 Sons of Italy lodges within the state. The Order Sons of Italy in America, established in 1905, is a national organization and the largest Italian-American organization in the country with over 700 lodges. Our local lodge here in Wheat Ridge has almost 350 members, most of whom live in Wheat Ridge. This year, following the Columbus Day Parade, we will hold our post-parade celebration and awards ceremony at our beautiful lodge on 32nd and Harlan. We are deeply disappointed that this council did not see fit to put our suggestion of moving the Columbus Day Parade from downtown Denver to Wheat Ridge on the agenda for tonight's meeting. It seems short-sighted and close-minded to miss our presentation with relevant materials targeted for tonight's agenda. Ever-increasing support for the parade has encouraged us to think about expanding the event from our current one-day festival format to a 3-day entire weekend event. A destination location to not only bring people into Wheat Ridge, but also showcase the businesses and community of Wheat Ridge, similar to the Festival Italiano in Belmar. As the cornerstone celebration of Italian-American Heritage Month in October, the Columbus Day Parade will be on October 8th. A 3-day festival that same weekend to kick off Italian-American Heritage Month could be wonderful and possibly lucrative. At this time, there is no other festival in the month of October that I know of, so the opportunity is untouched. Sure, the weather can be unpredictable, more unpredictable than usual in October, but longtime residents know that you simply prepare for any weather. The Columbus Day Parade Planning Committee always takes this into consideration. If the weather is favorable, we are thrilled. But if not, hey, it's Colorado. The parade last year was possibly the largest in the modern era. Colorado has a proud and a unique place in history as the first state to celebrate Columbus Day in 1907. In 1909, Colorado was the first state to hold a Columbus Day parade in Pueblo. From then until now, the celebration of Columbus Day across the nation has honored generations of Italian Americans and their families and their considerable contributions to this country. A holiday, a tradition passed on to us with pride from our grandparents and great-grandparents. To the Italian American community, the significance of celebrating Columbus Day can be compared to that of St. Patrick's Day to Irish Americans and Martin Luther King Day to African Americans. Anything less, any diminishing of Columbus Day diminishes the Italian American community as a whole. Any sacrifice of our tradition, our dignity, and our pride as Italian Americans is a slap in the face of our families. Some have mentioned the idea of a diversity day instead of Columbus Day to somehow placate a wider demographic. Rather than pay lip service to diversity, why not actually practice it? The key to diversity is to preserve the diverse elements within the community, not diminish them. In addition to a Columbus Day parade in Wheat Ridge, why not encourage things like a German festival or a Scots or Irish festival? Why not expand the festivities, not lump them all into one generic holiday? Changing the name of Columbus Day is ridiculous as changing all the holidays to diversity days. December 25th, Diversity Day. Martin Luther King, Diversity Day. St. Patrick's. Keep in mind that Columbus Day is a national American holiday. Anything less is unacceptable and a violation of our rights as American citizens. The Columbus Day Parade Planning Committee meets at 7 p.m. on the first Wednesday of every month at Vincennes, continuing 11 years of Wheat Ridge patronage for the committee, beginning with Valendi's and including Pietra's Pizzeria. All of you are welcome to attend, as I hope that we will have the opportunity to continue this dialogue in the future and seriously consider having a Columbus Day Parade and Festival in Wheat Ridge in 2012. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Do we have anybody else for public comment tonight on any item not on the agenda? The council have any questions or comments? That's part of your rules now for public speakers. Thank you for coming. Move on to approval of the agenda. Are there any changes to the agenda tonight? Seeing none, we'll move on to public hearings and ordinance on second reading. Item 1 is Council Bill 15-2001. We are currently in the public hearing. Councilmember Adams.
Council Bill number 15-2001, an ordinance temporarily waiving
Sorry.
Council Bill number 15-2011, an ordinance temporarily waiving the city's 2-cent sales tax within the boundaries of the Longs Peak Metropolitan District.
Motion's in order.
I move to continue the hearing on Council Bill number 15-2001, Series 2011, an ordinance temporarily waiving 2 cents of the city's sales tax within the boundaries of the Longs Peak Metropolitan District until July 11th, 2011, at 7 p.m. in City Council chambers.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion to continue, second by Councilmember DeMott. Please poll the council.
And the motion carries 6-0.
Thank you. Item 2 is Council Bill 21-2011. I'm going to open the public hearing. Councilmember Sang.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Council Bill number 21-2011, an ordinance reappointing presiding municipal judge Christopher Randall, increasing his hourly compensation and approving a presiding municipal judge services agreement. The city's home rule charter provides for appointment of a municipal court judge for a term of 2 years. The current term of presiding judge Christopher Randall expires June 30th, 2011.
Will the city clerk please assign an ordinance number?
Yes, Council Bill 21-2011 will be ordinance number 1495.
Thank you. We're going to move on to a staff presentation. Judge, did you want to step forward and discuss the ordinance? Sure. Please spell your last name for the record and your position with the city of Wheat Ridge.
Last name is spelled R-A-N-D-A-L-L, and I'm the presiding judge and director for the court.
Thank you. We're going to kind of combine this. Did the council want to ask any questions of Mr. Randall before we go on to public comment? Mr. Reinhardt?
The one question we were unclear on was the change in your compensation in 2007.
Just a question, did that occur?
Yeah, we believe there was a change, but it was in
Yes.
our packages didn't say how much of an increase you got in 2007.
It wasn't enough. I'm teasing you. I don't remember how much it was. But I don't think it was I will tell you this, I was hired in 2002. It's 2011. I've requested one increase, and that's the only increase I've received in that whole time period.
Any other questions or comments for Judge Randall? Ms. Jade, do you have any? Make sure your mic's on.
I don't have a question.
Okay.
I will state my beliefs at some point.
Okay. Looks like they're done asking questions, so hang in the pocket here. We'll see how it
All
goes.
right, thanks.
Do we have anybody here from the public to speak on item number 2? Mr. Dahl, did you have any staff presentation?
No, not other than is in the packet. On the compensation increase in 2007, I'm remiss in not checking that for council. Right now, the judge's compensation, $87 and change, and I believe that the increase was from around $80. I don't think it was, I believe it was around, the compensation prior to 2007 was around $80. I'm fairly sure that it was a single-digit increase, not a double-digit. In other words, it wouldn't have been from the $70-something range to the $80-something range. I think it was around 80, and it went up to 87. I'm sorry that I can't. I'm just stretching the absolute edge of my memory to give you that, but I know it was important to you, and I've been kind of reflecting on it since it came up in pre-meeting. And I'm fairly certain it wasn't a double-digit number. It was a single-digit number. And I'm guessing the compensation was around $80 or so, and it was increased to 87 in 2007. Judge, did you have any presentation you wanted to make to council? Did we miss out on that? Because now would be the time. If so, it's the mic.
I've spoken to a few of you court here. This court is, although compared with some of the other metro area cities, I think we're a smaller city, but this is a major league court. We deal with some difficult defendants. Lately, I've had more problems with mentally ill defendants, with defendants with substance abuse problems, so it's a challenging court. And you folks know I've got jurisdiction to sentence to a $1,000 fine and 1 year in jail. And because of that, we have a probation department, we have a marshal's department, a large staff in the clerk's office. So the court here is, it's a significant municipal court. As far as what we handle domestic violence, and not a lot of municipal courts handle domestic violence, and they're challenging, serious cases. We have jurisdiction for theft up to 1,000. In the old days, they used to be a felony, so now municipal courts have jurisdiction for thefts up to that amount, which like I say, in the old days used to be a felony, so felony level thefts. It's a busy court, busy docket. Our philosophy is give everybody a fair shot. I think the official role of the court in our philosophy is to fairly and efficiently adjudicate municipal ordinance violations. What's also unique about our municipal court, in addition to doing DV, we handle real property abatements. I don't think there's too many municipal courts that do abatements. Not that they're excessively challenging, and not that they take up a lot of time, but that is a little bit unique. We handle sales tax cases here, which not all municipal courts do that. So it's a unique municipal court, and I think a special municipal court, and I think we do if I do say so myself, pretty good job. So anybody have any other questions about court?
Ms. J?
Yeah. In reading the changes that would be to your contract, should it go forward, if I'm reading this correctly, item number 3, clarification in the contract, reimbursable expenses should include mileage and routine expenses. Have they not been included in the past?
Yeah, here's what I've done, is whenever I go, twice a year there's a municipal judges conference, and I drive to those conferences. That's about the only thing I bill the city for mileage, is when I go to the conferences, and they're in different places throughout Colorado. So the contract could be changed to say for conferences and events outside of the metro area. That's what I was searching for there, is reimbursement for mileage to the conferences.
Okay, that's what I was questioning. So you're not receiving any reimbursement for mileage at this time?
Other than that, no. That's it.
Okay.
Does it make sense to you?
Okay.
Mr. DeMott?
Hi, Your Honor. Looking at the table, the judge compensation table, your hourly rate is higher than most cities. In some cases, it's double. Do most cities have like a director of their department also to assist with are you doing double duty as a? Okay, yes. So most of these, especially in the, Greeley and Loveland, these smaller towns, they would have a director, department director.
I'm more involved, I think, than most presiding judges. I think most presiding judges just judge, whereas I'm the department director. So you have administrative, personnel, hiring and firing, mostly hiring, not much firing, overseeing the marshals, overseeing the probation department, overseeing the clerk's office.
Are all things that a director would generally do?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit different in that I'm a director. What's left out of there, though, there are judges who are paid more than I am, and those are not in that matrix.
And also some of these, this lists the population of the cities. We're obviously we're the smallest one in here, I guess. Do some of these have multiple judges that work alternating day schedules, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
In a big city, I used to work in Aurora. Out there they have 5 courts going, 4.5 courts going at once. They have 4 or 5 full-time judges, then about 5 or 6 fill-in judges.
Okay.
So, but they're huge, population's huge in Aurora. But then I think Inglewood, which is interesting, I can't remember the population of Inglewood. I don't know that it's much bigger than Wheat Ridge. They have a full-time judge, whereas I'm just here 3.5 days a week, something like that. I think it's hard you can somewhat compare cities. You can compare job duties and salaries, but they're all a little bit different. Like some cities don't send anyone to jail. They don't handle any crimes. They just do traffic work. And then some cities don't do domestic violence. We do. They're very time consuming. They're serious cases. They take a fair amount of the docket. So it's tough to compare city to city. You have to have some comparables, and I think you have to see what other cities are doing. But this is certainly not a court for a beginner or an inexperienced judge. It's a handful.
That's all I had. Thanks.
Any other questions or comments? Ms. Adams?
A really quick question, and I don't mean it to be facetious. What do we do in our court system when you're ill?
Well, there's a list of, I'm going to call them fill-ins. I think we call them relief judges. And then I think the way the charter is set up, and the mayor may know better than I do, I think I give him a list, and it's about 6 or 8 judges, and then he approves them on an annual basis, and they fill in for me. So these aren't just random people that appear. They're a list, partly that I've chosen over the years, and partly were already here when I got here.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments before I close the public hearing? Mike Stites is absent tonight, but he asked me to read a letter into the public record. This is from Mike Stites, dated June 21st, 3 o'clock. I would like to thank Judge Randall for his service to the courts and to the city of Wheat Ridge. At this time, I would like to reappoint Judge Randall without increasing his hourly pay. I've seen very little change in the economy, and we have many citizens still out of work with little or no benefits. The business in Wheat Ridge are still suffering the effects of a bad economy. This means for the city of Wheat Ridge, lower tax revenues. Retired citizens on Social Security do not get an increase in their monthly checks. I value Judge Randall's employment as I value the employees of the city, as I think they do a fantastic job. If we give Judge Randall an increase, that will open the door for all employees, and I do not want to give false hope that pay increases are forthcoming. We all took an oath of office to represent the citizens of Wheat Ridge to the best of our ability, so as of this time I cannot offer an increase of pay to the judge. Thank you, Mike Stites, Council District 3. Obviously, Mike's not voting tonight, but he wanted me to read that into the record. Do you want any other questions or comments before I close the public hearing for a motion? I just want to remind council that this is an ordinance on second reading. It has to pass by 5 votes. And if I break a tie tonight on a 3-3, 4-3 does not pass. So it has to be 5 votes. I'm going to close the public hearing and a motion's in order.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would like to make a comment before I make the motion.
Sure.
While I, along with Mike Stites, appreciate the service that you've given the city over the years that you have been here, I too am struggling with this kind of an increase in pay when, to me, this comes at a bad time because we haven't looked at our budget yet. We don't know what's going to be there for any compensation for the employees. Maybe there will be able to, but we don't know that yet, and I would hate to give this type of a raise to someone when time to give raises to the employee come along and we don't have the money to do that. So it's not anything against you or your service, but I agree with Mike, it's the economy. We have not, and it doesn't look good in the forecast for the nation. It, in fact, looks very bad. So with that, I move to approve Council Bill number 21-2011, an ordinance reappointing presiding municipal judge Christopher Randall and approving a presiding municipal judge service agreement on second reading, and that it take on service agreement without increase in hourly compensation on the second reading, and that it take effect upon adoption as permitted by the charter.
Is there a second?
A second.
We have a motion for approval with an amendment with no salary increase, but approval of the contract. It was seconded by Councilmember DeMott. Discussion on the main motion. Ms. Adams?
That wasn't good. I might want to clear that. I will not be able to support an increase at this time, and I will be supporting the motion that Mrs. Sang read. But by not supporting this motion, by no means does that mean that I do not support or recognize the information that was in our packet, and I would suggest that our citizens, if they can, get on the internet and look at the accomplishments that this court system has made over the last years that Judge Randall has been presiding. They're pretty impressive. I know personally that Judge Randall and our court system has an incredible regional respect. I think it's something that I would hate to lose. And I would like very much to be able to increase salary, but at this point I will not be able to, so I will be supporting the current motion. Thank you.
Mr. Reinhardt?
I'd like to, I agree with my colleagues, but I would like to add the following commentary, that in the event that we reevaluate the entire program for all of our staff, that I would be prepared to introduce a motion to bring the judge along at whatever the general compensation increases come at that time, once we feel that we are can be responsibly raising the salary of our other employees. I see no reason why we wouldn't reevaluate the question of his salary at that time. So, but I will also be supporting the motion without a raise.
Ms. Jay?
It's really difficult to not support salary increase when so many very kind and correct comments have been said about our judge. I too will not be able to, when I multiply it out and I realize that salary range is very high. That's about $200,000 a year if you did a 40-hour week. However, I'm also inclined to think about what Mr. Reichert has said about should we be able to afford some sort of a increase or a one-time deposit to our employee accounts, I would certainly be supporting that.
So we have a motion for approval with an amendment. It was seconded. Please poll the council.
What amendment?
No,
Well, the amendment that without the,
no, it wasn't an amendment. It was a motion.
well, it was an amendment that Mr. Dahl mentioned in the pre-meeting. You read it in the whole thing.
The effect of the motion would be to to approve the ordinance as amended by the motion.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's
That's
what
what I
the
heard.
saying said.
Okay.
Okay, so please poll the council on the main motion.
And that motion carries 6-0.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is ordinance first reading. Item 3 is Council Bill 22-2001. Councilmember Jay.
Let me turn my mic on. Council Bill number 22-2011, an ordinance approving the comprehensive rezoning of property along the Wadsworth corridor between West 35th and West 45th Avenues to the mixed-use commercial MUC zone district. The Wadsworth, at issue, the Wadsworth Corridor Sub-Area Plan adopted in 2007 and the Envision Wheat Ridge Comprehensive Plan adopted in 2009 call for medium and high-density mixed-use redevelopment along the Wadsworth corridors between West 35th and West 45th Avenues. Both plans envision a mixed-use town center with compact, pedestrian-friendly development on Wadsworth between West 38th and West 45th Avenues. In September 2010, the City Council adopted new mixed-use zone districts. One zone district, mixed-use commercial, MU-C, was developed for primary commercial corridors like Wadsworth. The MUC zoning creates a streamlined development process and encourages pedestrian-friendly, medium, and high-density mixed-use development. In order to advance the city's goal of promoting mixed-use redevelopment on Wadsworth, the city initiated a comprehensive rezoning of properties along Wadsworth, roughly between West 35th and West 45th Avenues, to the MUC district.
Motion's in order.
Find it here. Oh, clear the back. Thank you. Thank you. I move to approve Council Bill number 22-2011, 2011, an ordinance approving the comprehensive rezoning of property located along the Wadsworth corridor between West 35th and West 45th Avenues to the mixed-use commercial MUC zone district on first reading. Order it published. Public hearing set for Monday, July 11th, 2011 at 7 p.m. in City Council chambers, and that it take effect 15 days after publication.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion for approval. It was seconded by Councilmember Sang on first reading. Please poll the council.
And the motion carries 5-1 with Mr. DeMott voting no.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is decisions, resolutions, and motions. Item 4 is a motion to award RFP 11-26. Councilmember Sang.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Motion to award RFP 11-26 to Innovate Corporation in the amount of $97,740 for the technical energy audit and improvement for the Active Adult Center. Through the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act of 2009, the city received Community Development Block Grant Recovery funds from Jefferson County. The project approved for use of these funds is an energy audit and subsequent energy efficiency upgrades to the Wheat Ridge Active Adult Center. The scope of work includes evaluating the Active Adult Center for energy efficient equipment or facility upgrades and providing a comprehensive technical energy audit report, which will include energy upgrade recommendations, project management, and supervision of the implementation construction phase. The scope also includes tracking of both short-term gains and the long-term results of the energy upgrades implemented. On April 27, 2011, 5 proposals were received for the project. All firms met the initial proposal requirements. Proposals were evaluated and shortlisted. Interviews were conducted with 4 firms. Innovate Corporation of Aurora, Colorado was the firm ranked number 1. References were checked. Staff recommends award to Innovate Corporation based on qualifications, experience, approach, and fee schedule. Is a motion in order?
Motion's in order.
I move to award RFP 11-26 to Innovate Corporation, Aurora, Colorado, in the total amount not to exceed $97,740 for technical energy audit and improvements to the Active Adult Center.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion for approval, seconded by Councilmember Langworthy. Discussion on item 4. Please poll the council.
Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you. Item 5, Councilmember Sang.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Motion to award RFP 11-07 right-of-way maintenance services to TerraCare Associates, LLC, Centennial, Colorado, in the amount of $53,920. The 2011 right-of-way maintenance program provides for weed control, mowing, and trimming, trash and debris removal, sidewalk and median cleaning, street sweeping and sidewalk cleaning, and blowing services in various locations in the city of Wheat Ridge on right-of-way turf and sidewalk areas as required or as needed. In order to comply with the City of Wheat Ridge stormwater ordinance and according to best management practices, the street sweeping component was added for 2011. The scope of work included in this contract is 1 cycle per month at each location for 7 months, April through October. For the remaining 5 months of the year, only debris and trash removal will be performed. On May 12, 2011, 4 responsive proposals were received. All met the initial proposal requirements. 2 firms were shortlisted and interviews were conducted. The number 1 firm following the interviews was TerraCare Associates, LLC, Centennial, Colorado. Pricing was negotiated. Staff recommends award to TerraCare Associates, LLC, based on qualifications, experience, past performance, and pricing. The motion in order?
Motion's in order.
I move to award RFP 11-07 for right-of-way maintenance services to TerraCare Associates, LLC, Centennial, Colorado, in the amount of $53,920 for the year 2011.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion for approval of item number 5, seconded by Councilmember Reinhardt. Please poll the council.
Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you. Item 6 is Resolution 20-2011. Councilmember Dumont.
Thank you. Resolution number 20-2011, a resolution amending the fiscal year 2011 general fund budget to reflect the approval of a supplemental budget appropriation in the amount of $4,000 for the acceptance of a grant from Xcel Energy Foundation Colorado Tree Coalition for the purpose of purchasing trees and tree supplies. Motion in order?
Motion's in order.
I move to approve resolution number 20-2011, amending the fiscal year 2011 general fund budget to reflect the approval of a supplemental budget appropriation in the amount of $4,000 for the acceptance of a grant from Xcel Energy Foundation Colorado Tree Coalition for the purpose of purchasing trees and tree supplies.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion for approval, seconded by Councilmember Langworthy. Discussion, item 6. Please poll the council.
Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you. Item 7, Councilmember Jay.
Motion to approve award of RFP 11-23 for Connections newsletter design and print services to Mile High newspapers in an amount not to exceed $24,260. A part of the 2011 budget process, as part of the 2011 budget process, City Council provided staff with direction to bring back cost-cutting operations for the Connections newsletter. Staff presented several options to Council at the February 14, 2011 City Council study session and received Council consensus to move forward with changing the Connections to a color newsprint option. In early 2011, staff decided to put the Connections newsletter out to bid since the design changes were significant and we were unable to reach an agreement with CIG to meet the new budgeted amount. The original budget amount for the Connection newsletter was $73,377 annually, and the recommended award of $24,260 results in a cost savings of approximately $49,000. Due to delay in the production of 2011, 3 editions of the Connection newsletter will be produced. 4 editions of the Connections newsletter will be produced in 2012. Staff estimates the city will spend approximately $24,260 in 2011. On April 27, 2011, bids were received. All proposals met the initial bid requirements. 4 firms were interviewed. The award is based on qualifications, project approach, experience, product, and fee schedule. Mile High Newspapers meets all the bid specifications and budget. References were checked. Staff recommends award to Mile High Newspapers not to exceed $24,260. I just want to say that what this means is our glossy Connections newsletter we will still have it 4 times a year. It will not be glossy anymore, but it's a substantial savings about on an annual basis about $41,000 a year, and I think that's well worth the changes that have been made.
Motion's in order.
I move to reward RFP 11-23 for Connections newsletter design and print services to Mile High Newspapers in an amount not to exceed $24,260 for 2011.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion for approval of item 7. It was seconded by Councilmember Reinhardt. Discussion on the main motion. Please poll the council.
Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you. That concludes our agenda for tonight. We'll move on to city managers' matters.
I have nothing this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. City Attorney's matters.
Nothing here, thanks.
City Clerk's matters.
Nothing, thank you.
Councilmember Adams. Councilmember DeMott.
Nothing tonight, thank you.
Ms. Langworthy.
I would just like to send out a quick thank you to John Zabawa from the Senior Resource Center. He just celebrated 30 years with the Senior Resource Center, and they are getting very close to moving into the new building, and I'm very excited for them.
Ms. Jay.
I do want to mention that Wheat Ridge just had its first garden tour. 120 people took part in the Wheat Ridge first garden tour. That's pretty exciting. And I want to congratulate the Cultural Commission for creating that and making such a successful day of it. This was just yesterday, Sunday. The garden tour committee was Millie Nadler, Chad Haar, representing the Cultural Commission, Susan Teal, representing Wheat Ridge 2020, and Molly Hansen, representing Live Well Wheat Ridge. That's all.
Thank you. Ms. Sang.
Yes, I'd just like to send my best wishes to Charlie Holzer, who is not in good health, and I understand, and I just want him to know that I'm thinking about him. We'll miss the newspaper.
Thank you. Mr. Reinhardt.
Yeah, I second that. I have nothing else, thanks.
I, too, would like to congratulate John Zabawa for his 30 years of service at the Senior Resource Center. He's done a great job in improving the services for seniors and expanding the programs. So congratulations to John Zabawa. I also wanted to wish Mr. Holzer a speedy recovery. He is the publisher of the Neighborhood Gazette, so you may or may not be seeing the paper here shortly, depending on his health, but I ask everybody to keep him in your prayers. He does work hard for the city of Wheat Ridge, whether you agree with his positions or not, and he has been a voice for certain citizens of the city of Wheat Ridge for at least 5 years with the Neighborhood Gazette. And also I wanted to, another parliamentary procedure issue, I guess, is if you make a motion in the packet and you add verbiage to it, that's a motion with an amendment, and Ms. Sang added the amendment that Mr. Dahl had given the council. So if I say it's a motion with an amendment, it does not necessarily mean that somebody else made an amendment, but I'd ask council to be a little bit more patient about jumping on me when I make a statement, because I've been doing this a while and I do know what I'm doing. So it's with all due respect, it's not that big of a deal, but I just want to give council a heads up on parliamentary procedure. And like I mentioned before, ordinances on second reading do need 5 votes, but that doesn't go for resolutions, right, Mr. Dahl? Resolutions can pass with a simple majority. So, with that, have a good summer, and we'll see you in July. Oh, also, I want to remind everybody that fireworks are illegal in the city of Wheat Ridge, all fireworks, so please keep your neighbors and your family safe and enjoy some of the organized fireworks coming up around the city and around Jeffco. Thank you. We're adjourned.